Everyone, welcome back to Divorce Den, where we provide a safe space for women to gain clarity and to gain information about how best to move forward in their relationships, including in divorce. I want to talk today about highlighting an incredible professional whose work has helped countless women navigate divorce with clarity and with confidence. Donna S. is a financial advisor, a certified divorce financial analyst, and best-selling author who is dedicated to helping empowering women take control of their financial futures. As founder of Money Matters Wealth Solutions and Navigating Divorce, Donna specializes in helping women build their wealth, protect their assets, and navigate the complex financial decisions that come with divorce and major life transitions. Known for her passionate yet strategic approach, Donna equips women with the clarity, confidence, and the tools that they need to create stability and long-term financial independence. Welcome today, Donna, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Oh, I really appreciate it. So we know that women are disproportionately affected financially after divorce. In fact, a study found that after divorce, women's household incomes declined by an average of 41% compared to 23% decline for men. And that's nearly double the loss. So it underscores how critical it is for women to be financially prepared well in advance of signing any divorce agreements, and the importance of working with professionals who can help them be educated and be informed well before they sign those. So, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to focus on three main things that women should know in order to empower them to be better off financially after a divorce. You're never going to be the same, but we want you to have as much information and clarity as possible. We're going to talk about the value of having a CDFA if you're going through a divorce, how a CDFA can help with advanced prep, and how to choose the best professional for your situation, because not everyone is created equal. So let's jump right in, Donna. And for those who might be hearing this term for the first time, CDFA, I know when I first heard it, I was a little confused. Let's talk about what a CDFA is and how it is that you can help women gain clarity when they're getting divorced.
Awesome. I know in the terms, I mean, we're not new to the industry, but a lot of people just aren't aware of the designation. So Certified Divorce Financial Analyst is what CDFA stands for. And people that have this designation are accredited with having accomplished the training necessary for us as financial professionals to actually know how to play in the divorce sandbox. That's putting it in my terms. But, a financial advisor, we have all kinds of skill sets when it comes to managing money, but we don't necessarily understand the complexity of divorce and the impact that it has on a person's financial well-being. So that designation is what you're looking for when you're working with somebody and you're navigating divorce around all those financial decisions.
Yeah, that's really important to keep in mind because sometimes people think about it as just another, just another designation, but it doesn't come with just the letters. It comes with that training, that understanding, and that education as to how it is that you can help people in the divorce field. Because in court, that judge doesn't have that training. Your attorney doesn't have that training. Even if I'm skilled now at looking at a statement of net worth and looking at those numbers, what does that actually mean underneath? What does that mean for someone's future? I don't know. The court doesn't know. So it's really important that people understand this isn't just a designation. You really had to learn and had to be trained in how it is that you can be forward thinking and help people, not today, not tomorrow, but down the road.
And what you just said, I think, is really significant because when you think about it, when you hire a divorce attorney, their job is to dissolve what's already there. So if we split it down the middle, attorneys are going to go, hey, okay, that's wonderful. Nobody's going to be happy with the outcome. But if it's equitable and that 50-50, we're all good. But the reality is what the attorney may not be taking into consideration is what the long-term financial impact is going to be with all of those financial decisions that are being made today. So that's, where the true value comes in. You've got to have the divorce attorney to navigate the divorce process, but have somebody like myself, a CDFA, on your team that can help you understand the financial implications of every decision that you're making as you navigate that process.
Yeah, I love that because Your attorney doesn't necessarily know it, like you said. The judge certainly doesn't. And all they're looking at is that narrow lens of how do we divide it now? What do we do now? Split the retirement assets 50-50, 70-30, whatever it is. How do we navigate the house now? Get it sold, get it on the market in 6 months. No one's looking at the long term future as opposed to someone like you who sees it through a lens of, let's look at this in a more comprehensive way. Maybe those interest rates are going to go down. Maybe you're not going to be able to pull out of your retirement the way that you think you can. No one's taking that deep dive. I assure you, I'm not as an attorney, and I assure you the judges are not. So having your perspective there really is absolutely critical.
Would love to share with you a situation where I really could have made a difference, an impact on a person's divorce outcome, if I may.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
Okay, so a divorce attorney referred a client to me after the client's divorce was finalized. So I wasn't involved in the financial conversation until it was basically too late. But the woman that came to me, she was actually getting or being awarded $2.2 million from her now ex-spouse's 401k. And a lot of people would go, okay, wow, okay, that's not bad. I could live off $2.2 million. The reality, though, is that part of her divorce settlement as well was her taking over 6 rental properties and her own home. So you go, oh, okay, she's getting all this property. Sounds good too. But the reality is every single one of those properties had significant mortgages on it. Okay, so maybe she's not getting as much value. That's still not a bad deal. But here's what happened. This woman has no earned income. The only money that she was going to be able to take as income was distributions from her IRA that she was inheriting. So she was literally not qualified to get a mortgage refinanced into her name. So hear me when I say this. It wasn't just the marital home, but those 6 properties that each had mortgages on them as well. She literally would not qualify for a new mortgage. So now, where she was looking at having one, I got all of these properties, I can continue to rent them out and get income from them. Now she's faced with the reality that she's going to have to sell them all. And once she has sold all of those properties, she may then qualify to refinance her own home. So that was just a sad day for me, a really wretched day for her when she found out after the fact the mess that was made from that divorce decision.
So, but on paper, that sounds good. And like I was saying before, a judge will hear that. You're getting 2.2 million in retirement assets. You have rental income. You're getting the marital home. You're good. Get out of my courtroom. As opposed to taking the deeper dive like you're talking about. What is she going to do with it now?
Right. And that's the thing. So don't make decisions or don't allow yourself to be pushed to make those decisions without really understanding what that financial implication is going to look like. That's the message.
Yeah, and that's a big one. And that takes us to point number 2. If somebody is in the divorce process, whether they're in litigation or they're in the collaborative model or they're in divorce mediation, what is the best way for them to work with you so that they can avoid that situation? Because she came to you after this divorce, right? And the value that you could have brought prior to, had she had that education, would have just been tremendous. So what's the best way for someone to work with you well in advance?
I love that. And it does take a little planning. I have people that will come to me once they've hired a divorce attorney, but a lot of people come to me prior to even meeting with a divorce attorney. And I will tell you, one of the best compliments I get is when one of my clients goes to meet with an attorney and comes in much more prepared, having a lot more financial clarity. And the divorce attorney says, you must have met with a CDFA. I'm like, okay, that's a win. But so you can hire a CDFA at any point in the process. The earlier we're engaged, engage, the more effective it's going to be. And one of the things that I pride myself in is helping you understand all of the financial information that you need to be gathering. So even if the D word's not been spoken in your household yet, but you're thinking about it, we can work together to identify all of those documents that are going to be beneficial to you so that when you do get ready to take action, you've already got a lot of the legwork done. And this is a big deal because number one, once the D word is said, a lot of documents start disappearing. Today we don't even have as much access as we did 5 or 10 years ago because everything's delivered electronically now. But if you can get your hands on that document, think about this. Now, rather than going to an attorney and saying, I think he's got a 401k with Fidelity, I think he still has a pension with an old company, you're literally handing the attorney a document that says, here's evidence of it. So you've saved yourself a lot of money right there and time with your attorney having to go to his attorney and say, provide me with this information. So just the more prep you can do, the better. So I say, if you're thinking about divorce, go ahead and have a conversation with a CDFA, and we will let you know if now is an appropriate time for you to engage with us or not.
That is huge. It really is, because if somebody is spending, I'm making up numbers, but if somebody is spending $1 with you to go through everything, it's not going to be $1. But I'm
Right.
just talking about comparison to get the documents together, to get a worksheet together of the debts, the asset, the liability, the income, all of that, as opposed to you have none of that and you come to an attorney's office, that $1 immediately is $10. Because if somebody is not handing the documents over, I have no way to compel them to do it except through the litigation process. I
Mhm.
have to send out discovery demands. I have to get subpoenas. I have to sometimes get court-ordered subpoenas. And then I get the documentation back. And if I'm asking for 3 years worth, I'm getting a document dump, and then I have to start reviewing it. So the money that they could have spent at the beginning, getting that clarity and bringing it to me as an attorney so that I can now start to make sense of it in the legal framework, as opposed to me having to not be able to make sense of it because now I have to go through all of the discovery. It is literally night and day. So I encourage everyone, if you're, to your point, even if you haven't said the D word, you've only thought about it, start to think about getting that CDFA interviewed, getting them in your corner, start to ask them, what do I need? And then you can start getting the documents and start literally creating your roadmap.
Absolutely. And what I appreciate about, your acknowledgement here and the value of working with someone like me in advance is that we don't know what we need to know, and it's kind of like, number one, everybody's already spending a ton of money with their attorneys. I can't tell you the number of times I've had somebody say, oh my gosh, they want a $10,000 retainer and they're freaking out. And then I tell them what they're going to have to pay me to get my help. And they're like, I can't do that. And I actually said this to somebody recently. I said, okay, so you can't afford this, but let's talk about how much you spent on your wedding and your honeymoon, right?
Big
So,
time.
right. I'm like, okay, so you're willing to drop $50,000 for that wedding and the honeymoon, but now you're not willing to invest a little bit of money to make sure that the legal decisions you're making today are not going to harm you for the rest of your life. So, yeah, you got to kind of put things in perspective. So, hearing you as the attorney, talk about the value and the money savings. Because here's the reality: you don't want to spend your hard earned money paying an attorney to go through that dump of information. The
Exactly.
attorney's time can be better used than having to sort through boxes of information. So let's just be wiser about how we work with our attorneys and give them the information they need so that they can make quick turnaround.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because what you mentioned before is you go into your attorney and you give a $10,000 retainer, and then they have to pay you your retainer as well. My $10,000 retainer, if I have to do all of that discovery, it's gone like that. So if you
Mhm.
come in with that paperwork, and then I can start to parse it out, make sense of it, think about how it relates to the law, what you might be entitled to, what maybe you're willing to give up. That's money that that's time and money that you can be spending with me strategizing, as opposed to digging. and trying to find out and trying to see what's hidden and trying to get bank statements. If you come into it already done, think about how much time and money that saves, because that $10,000, I promise you, I mean, litigation attorneys, it's going to be eaten up pretty darn quickly. And then you're going to say, well, what have I paid for? I've just paid you $10,000 only a month ago. Right, but that's all gone because now I had to do all this discovery, as opposed to working with you, coming in with that information.
Mm.
Huge savings, huge.
And the thing is nobody wants to spend money on this kind of stuff, but if we can reframe it as a horrible expense to a serious investment in ourselves, I think that might make it a little bit more palatable. It's not, nobody wants to spend the money on divorce, but we can't avoid it.
Right, and that's a really good point too, because your future is coming, right? You're going to be here tomorrow, in a year from now, post divorce. You want to start creating that roadmap that makes sense for you. If you're taking the time and energy and the money and investing it at the beginning, to your example, that woman who got the $2.2 million and these investment accounts, investment properties, had she done it in the beginning, it would have been a serious investment in her future, because then you could have helped her navigate, maybe it makes sense to sell this one to get liquid cash here, or maybe don't accept the retirement, but get some more money there. Then she would have had such a clearer path forward, and it would have been an investment of her money, as opposed to feeling like afterwards you throw your hands up and not know what the heck is going on. And then you have to come back post divorce. And then now what? Now you're just paying again. So it really is an investment. It does take time, it does take money, but it is time and money well spent.
Couldn't agree with you more.
So then, to that point, then can you tell us, point number 3 is, how can somebody who is thinking about divorce, right? They haven't said the D word yet, or they have, and they're in the throes of it, choose the right professional, right? Because there's so many out there. There's so many different options. Like you said, the CDFA is specifically for people who are getting divorced, but there might be an investment broker or another financial analyst who can say, oh, I can help you. So how do people kind of parse through that noise and find the right professional for them when they're going through divorce?
That's a good question. So I think, and the reality is most of the people that approach me about working with me, they already have a financial advisor. So it's not whether or not you have a financial advisor or a CPA. It's whether or not that person has the skill set to help you navigate the divorce decisions. Hiring that financial professional that's got the CDFA designation is going to be very empowering. And just a smart investment. But a couple of other professionals that may be needed are a business valuator. If you're divorcing with a business, whether it's your business or your spouse's business, that business has got to be valued because it's a divisible asset. Having an accountant that CPA who's going to advise you on tax implications, who's going to get to deduct the children, do you do this together or separately? There's a lot of moving pieces financially there. But if you're working with a CDFA who's a financial professional, that person is going to have the experience and knowledge across all of the financial implications, except for maybe not being able to orchestrate a business valuation.
The beauty that I have found when I've worked with CDFAs is, if they're not able to do the business valuation, they have great connections of people who
Right.
they work with. Again, to save that time and money, you don't have to go out and try to find somebody who now you have to try to read their documentation, or you have to make sure that you work well with. You have resources, and you can give that to the divorcing couple and say, okay, I have resources. I can help you with this other professional, and we work well together.
And you bring up a really good point, because basically we're the connector. So I actually have mortgage brokers who have divorce certifications, real estate agents with divorce certifications, divorce coaches, and of course, counselors. So, and we've got the parenting coordinators, all of those different professionals that you might need on your divorce team. We can definitely connect you with.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think that anyone who's listening and thinking about divorce or separation, That's probably the biggest piece right there, connecting you with the right professionals. Because I tell people all the time when they come into my office, I might not be the right attorney for you. See other attorneys. You're going to be handing over very sensitive documentation. You're going to be talking about things that are very personal and intimate to you. Make sure that you're finding the right professionals. Having somebody like you who knows all of those professionals who are actually trained in the divorce sphere, that's really priceless. It's just completely invaluable. And people need to think about finding that one person who's really going to speak to them, who they're going to be comfortable with, and then they can ask them for their resources. And you'll find the right team and build the right divorce community to help you move forward.
And it is teamwork and it takes a village. So don't be afraid of building the team.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you for that. And to that end, I know that you help women all the time in when it comes to connecting, when it comes to education, and part of the education is your books. And you've written a book and you have another one coming out. So let's talk about Divorce Decoded, and then let's talk about your next steps and how it is that you're educating women about their options in divorce.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I do have a number one best-selling book called Divorce Decoded, a manifesto for women navigating divorce and beyond. And in this book, it's an anthology. So I have 13 other authors, contributing authors, all of the different professionals that are in the divorce space. They're there talking about their specific professional experience with clients and sharing their personal story. So it's very empowering. And I think it's awesome to read something like this because you find out, okay, I'm not the only one. Oh, okay. She had a different spin on this. Maybe I could use that. So I absolutely love it. Now, the next book that I have hopefully dropping in October is it's going to be a series of Divorce Decoded, but it's actually called A Woman's Guide to Financial Security and a Fair Settlement. And it's all about the finances in divorce, all of the things that you have to consider, and all of the pros and cons and advantages and disadvantages. So it'll be a very helpful roadmap for you if you're looking, for information on the divorce in the divorce process.
Oh, that's really fantastic. First of all, I love Divorce Decoded, hearing the other professionals, because like we were talking about before, it takes a team. And hearing from other professionals how it is that they've had experience with this in their professional life, but also their personal experiences, right? Their why it is that we find this work so powerful and so meaningful, and why it is that we are so committed to giving back to our community, especially to women, and educating them about their options going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, Donna, for joining us and for giving us this invaluable information about how a CDFA works with divorcing women and how you can be part of a bigger team and help women create a roadmap that gives them clarity and puts them on the road to success after divorce. Because I'm a product of divorce. I was a child of divorce, and I saw how hard my mother struggled. So had she had you in her corner long before the divorce, I know that she would have been in a better spot. So I value the work that you do. I appreciate the work that you do. And I thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your information. So tell us where everyone can find you, and let us know again if you could just remind us about the names of your books.
Okay, awesome. So my name again is Donna Cates, and I own Money Matters Wealth Solutions. You can find me at moneymatterswealth.com. That's my website. I'm on all the social platforms, and actually have a couple of great Facebook pages that deal with nothing but divorce. And I also do a monthly divorce workshop. It's held virtually. It is specifically for women, though, but you can find information about that on my website as well. You're also able to purchase my Divorce Decoded Manifesto book from my website. The new book, if y'all be watching for that next month, I would be very grateful if you would make that first day purchase to help me get that number one best-selling status on Amazon.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to be very useful. The more information you have from the beginning, please check out Donna's book. And again, thank you so much, Donna, for joining us. And if anyone has any questions or any comments about other financial issues that you'd like to talk about when it comes to getting divorced or separated, drop a comment and let us know. We'd love to have Donna come back and take a deeper dive. And we'd love to know what it is that you need support with. So thank you again, Donna, for joining us. And thanks everyone for watching. And we will see you next time on Divorce Den.